Hello, it is Sunday, June 14th, 2015, and this is episode 1 of the Observation Lounge. My name is Charlie Plaine, aka MidnightLich on the forums, and I am the host of this show. This is a pilot episode, so to speak, where the vision behind the Observation Lounge is a town hall meeting where I, as the chairman, or perhaps in the future, other members of the continuing committee, sit down with people from the public who have things they want to talk about, and we talk about them. Uh, it's the first go, so we're going to be feeling things out as we go through the episode. But that's the idea, the plan. So I'd like to take a moment to welcome our guest, John. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, not much of a senior staff meeting in the observation lounge when there's just two of us, but hey, someone had to show up and bail you out.
So tell everybody your handle on the forums, if you would. So.
Oh, it's gonna be official. Yeah, well, it's Killer B. Unfortunately, that's more famous than I am. I don't know. I don't have a committee job, but I am an associate designer and overall um, POS.
Well said. So I will, since this is about what the community wants to talk about, and you're the only guest here, do you have a burning topic to discuss, or should we jump into some news and other topics for discussion? So.
Yeah, actually, I don't. I mean, I know the show's about people coming on and expressing their grievances or questions, but I don't have anything offhand.
Cool. Well, we are broadcasting live. Anybody who's watching, you're welcome to join the show. The link is in the chat room, on the forums, and on our Twitter at TrekCCC. If you can't join the show for whatever reason, let me know, and I'll see if I can get you on. You're also welcome to ask questions through Twitter at TrekCC or in the chat room. I will be monitoring both throughout the day. So, John, since you don't have a topic, I will start with one. You recently ended your tenure as errata lead. Let's do a bit of a debrief on the errata team concept, the watch list, and the process. How do you feel as the errata lead emeritus? The process has gone.
I think it's been a success. I guess you came to me, you and Nick, about a year ago. Was it a year ago, year and a half ago, somewhere along those lines? Because the errata used to be controlled by rules, and then design had it for a while, and it was sort of a hot potato. So smartly, you asked me to get some people together. I got people together from all different areas, Europe, all across the U.S. We would meet about once a month, and we created the watch list. Basically, anybody who has a problem with the card can send in a request, and then we'll discuss it. And then if we get enough votes, we put it on the watch list. And I got a feedback. It's messing me up.
Sorry.
I don't know if that's you or me. This is about as high production quality as the discard pile. But can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm muted just in case it was me, so continue.
Oh, okay, no, we're fine. So we did that for about a year. We had about 2 batches of errata, and then I handed the lead off to Josh Sheets. He's going to pick it up from here. And at this point, all we really do is just keep an eye on things. There's nothing else really, problems unless something pops up. That happens from time to time, but so far I think it's been a raging success.
Yeah, I mean, I have not agreed with every decision that has been made, but I got to sit in on one errata meeting and plead my case, so to speak. There was a pair of cards that were up for errata that I really felt were should wait, and that was what is it called?
Roadblock and holding cell.
Self-replicating roadblock and holding cell. And I made my argument. I wrote a PM to John and sent it to him, and he posted it to the errata team, and then he invited me to come to a meeting and make my case, and I did. And I convinced them to hold off on one, but was unable to convince them on the other. And I mean, John could have been putting on a show for me, but it definitely felt like I'm willing to trust that that meeting was representative of their meetings and that they they legit discuss issues and vote. It's not the personal hate list of any one person, which has been an accusation. But that's also one of the advantages to rotating with people, is, if it's now, I assume, I don't know that there's an official policy in place, but like, let me ask you this: could Josh have come in and like undone something that you had done, or is there a policy in place to keep that from happening?
No, we don't. There's no time. There's no time machine. I mean, of course, the nature of errata is that anything can change. So there's not going to be any no appeal. There's no appealing Obamacare on the errata team. I hope not. I mean, the lead is the lead, but I just try to set a precedent in the first year that I ran it, just to show other people how to do it, how to try to do things by consensus. Basically, when you're the lead, your job is to do everything. In my mind, your job is to do everything by consensus, and then when there's a tie, you got to make a command decision, and like to put something on the list or to pull the trigger on an errata. I mean, there's things that they were on the fence sometimes. I think Dinatra was one of them that was on the fence, and then I had to pull the trigger on. But everything else, usually by the time it gets debated, and there's a lot of different opinions. And so if you thought I was putting on a show for you, if you ever try to train a Ben Hosp, good luck on that.
I'm actually working with Ben on a design project right now, and so I'm very familiar with reining in Ben Hosp, or attempting to. So.
You can't train a Hosp. I mean, you try to do the best you can, and hopefully the group comes to a consensus, and you don't have to put yourself out on a limb.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I also think that there's technically you report to the brand manager, and the brand manager puts the erratas out. So I mean, I suppose if Josh or a future lead designer was like, I hate everything John did, not lead designer, errata team, I hate everything John did, I want to undo it. The brand manager could be like, has the opportunity to stop that. But
I would hope that any lead, errata lead. I mean, obviously, you would be setting a bad precedent because the next guy would come in.
Yeah,
you don't want to set that. I mean, you got to at least respect. I mean, like I said, rarely has there ever been something that's just been like deadlocked, and then the lead has to make a decision on. It doesn't happen too often, but I mean, there's actually been some errata that I don't like. That I had to. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I have a question from the chat room, and it's actually something both of us can talk about a bit. And there's a topic I expected to come up. How do Foreman is asking, how do we feel phase 2 design is going? I will solicit your thoughts first, and then give you my own thoughts.
Well, I guess if you're gonna grade phase 2, and the goal of phase, and it's I hate to say this, Charlie, but I think I'm more of a phase 2 zealot now than you are. I'm just starting to. Sometimes I question your faith when it comes to phase 2. Sometimes when it comes up, disagreements and whatnot. But if you're gonna, I guess you have to grade it by affiliation, because that's what the goal is, to give each affiliation a flavor. So I don't know, what have we done? I think, all right, let's start off with successes. Tarek Noor, and I played it recently, and I think that's a raging success. I think compared to what design, previous design, not to shit on the past, but it was a lot of hero to everything. Hero personnel, hero interrupt. Ruling Council was a hero interrupt to make one deck based on one card. But now Tarek Noor it's got like 4 different things. It's got a little bit of randomness with the cards coming off. It's got like a lot of tricks. It's got a lot of flavor. So that's an A+ if you're going to grade that one. Bajoran, micro teaming, brought micro teaming back. That's just personal, so I can't give that a grade.
Well, to be fair, that hasn't the gloom and doom predictions about Bajoran micro teaming have yet to come to pass.
Well, not doom and gloom, but there's been a lot of sad faces.
There's been a few, but I mean, I'm wondering if there are people who are playing something wrong. I'm not accusing anyone because I don't know, but it's like the accession trick is a one-trick pony, right? The I attempt with 1 and I bring 3 guys in and I solve the easy mission. It's a one-trick pony because once you play a session, it's gone.
It's a one-trick pony, and Um, another player who's been in my ear a lot, and they've started making a lot of sense about just getting around costing, getting around paying for things is something that design has to look at. And I'm starting to agree with them. I mean, you're getting in at any cost personnel. So you're getting in a big dog Bajoran. Not only are you getting the mission, the one-off for the mission, you're also getting a free guy. Sometimes we forget how powerful just getting a free 5 cost, juggernaut. They're basically the Bajorans are juggernauts. So, I mean.
That's not new for them, though. They've had that trick since set 2. I mean, I understand, and it's definitely. This is actually one thing I'm grateful for the errata team for, is that as a designer, and I don't know if you felt this, as a designer, I feel like I can dial up the finished power a bit, which was a goal of phase 2, because we were definitely caught in a rut of neuter cards down to almost uselessness, and I feel like I can make a session, I can make self-replicating roadblock, I can make those 2 Gamma Quadrant missions, and if the S hits the fan, there's a safety net. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to make a broken card. I'm not trying to make a card that's a problem, but I would rather, and this is a fundamental philosophy of phase 2. I would rather make powerful cards that are affiliation specific that one might need to get errated than make 10 more basic, boring cards. You feel like
you can swing for the fences now.
I can swing for the fences, and sometimes I'm going to miss. Sometimes I will screw up.
No, but I think the track record is pretty good. I mean, there hasn't been anything compared to, like I said, I try not to shit on the past, but unfortunately I have to use that always as a backdrop. Is that, I guess, I don't know if someone could do the numbers, the percentage of cards that need errata, and I'm sure that has dropped off substantially from previous sets.
Yeah, I mean, so continuing the phase 2 Bajorans, I'd say they have an asterisk next to them because they might break, but then again, I guess we'll see with Continentals and Worlds coming up. But I think that they're flavor wise they're really good. Like they have we committed to the discard pile. The new the Bajoran battle stomp you in the face deck is kind of fun.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I love the artifact push. I mean, we did the artifact. If we were going to grade just the artifact push, I give them an A. But then you add in micro, and there's a market for micro teaming. If we're talking, business wise, it's a niche market of people who like that. So, I mean, I'm not one of them, but there are some people who
I feel like you can the people that hate micro teaming can be addressed with some new anti-micro teaming cards.
Yes, they can.
So
yeah. I think I posted one recently, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's definitely an area that we can explore, especially if Bajoran power creeps up. But also in Return to Grace was Cardassians, and I have to say, Cardassians, we went into them saying they don't really need a lot, and I kind of feel like we didn't do enough in hindsight. Like I feel like that we should have given them more of a thing. Like they just kind of got more of what they already had, and.
Well, I mean, to be fair, and we stuck. People. I think we've said this publicly. There's not going to be a new headquarters unless there's a good idea behind it, and there just wasn't anything there for Cardassian. Either maybe there is something there one day, but we don't have it right now, and it's better to. I know you said make a powerful card if you can do it, but when it comes to a headquarters, you gotta know you have something decent.
Yeah, they got to be judicious. Can't make them for the sake of it. I just kind of feel like some of the Cardassian cards are showing up in decks. The 2 cost guys that are -1 when they have the right card type in the discard pile, and the ship I see get played a lot. The mill off the cards.
The discard guy is a winner. That was a winner.
Yeah. I just wish that we'd done a little more to strongly flavor the Cardassians. But I mean, I don't think they were bad. I think they're probably like a B-.
Well, I mean, when phase 2, when you run after you run through all the affiliations, it's not like what do you do after that? I mean, they're at and then you can always go back and say, all right, we grade everything, and then say what could we what could we have done better on, and then Always.
Yeah, I think that we are rapidly done. We're going to be. I don't think that we're going to end up doing every affiliation in the A and B style expansions. I think we have a couple more, and then we're going to be moving on to different to way expansions used to be. Where it's like a theme around the expansion, and then but with the phase two design principles still.
Now that sorry to sully your show, but that's a fucking beard right there.
Yes, I am clearly the least beard of the call now that Christopher has joined us. Christopher, why don't you say hi and tell everybody your handle on the forums?
Oh, hi Charlie and hi Corbett. I'm Smiley on the forums, and I'm the 1E brand manager, and I have a large beard, I have a cider here, and I've just had a barbecue up on the roof here, so I'm just joining in and listening to what you guys have to say, and if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Yes, we're talking about 2E at the moment. There are several 1E questions queued up in the chat room. I'm sure you will help me discuss. So
yes.
So finishing the phase 2 review real quick, and Keith Foreman in the chat room had a point that not every affiliation needs something new. That there are some that already have like that good flavor, that good phase 2 flavor. So like that may not need the whole revamp style, but it's not like every expansion forever is going to be. This week it's the Klingons and Starfleet, and this week it's these two. It's those days are numbered. In fact, I think the next project we start will be more of an older model style where it's like this is a whole expansion about pants, and then it just has cards for everybody in it. So people who've been tired of the whole 2 affiliation model, you will be happy soon. But so real quick, Terraknor success. How about Earth? DS9 Earth.
Oh, Paranoia. I'll give them a C minus. I don't know. I haven't seen the. Unfortunately, the All-Star Paranoia card is the TNG one, which is actually fantastic.
It's fun.
Yeah, oh yeah. Actually that created a whole new genre of TNG decks, strength TNG decks, which is great. That one card. But as the Earth stuff, I might need one more thing.
I think we overestimated how many people like playing that drawback style. Like the Paranoia is very much the like here's a set of cards that give you something and take something away. Build a deck around that. And in other games and there are a lot of people that like those challenges of like, ooh, I'm going to try to build a deck to maximize the advantages and minimize the disadvantages. And I think we overestimated how many Trek players wanted that, which is why that I think the cards are okay, but
like I said on the boards, every time there's a problem, people want something for nothing. When you take anything away from a card, it has no cost to it. They get upset. Like these, it's a weird thing.
So yeah, and then we just did Dominion and DS9. I think both of them were really well done.
Yeah, I saw a DS9 deck in action at the Tech over the past couple weekends ago. That was. I think that was good. I've seen a lot of we wanted people to go to Gamma Quadrant, and they went to the Gamma Quadrant. All three, Romulan, DS9, and Dominion. I guess you could do a whole thing on Dominion, but I don't think it's a problem.
I think a lot of focus has been on Crippling Strike. A lot of talk about that card, and it is very powerful right now. Because it's one of those cards like Transport Crash Survivor or Necessary Execution that is going to force you to change the way you build your decks.
Yeah, isn't it? Would you say that
haven't done that yet?
Would you say a goal of Dominion playing the game? Isn't the goal of the Dominion to frustrate your opponent? Isn't that kind of what it's supposed to do?
Well, I'd say less frustrate your opponent and more the Dominion are trying to make you play by different rules. Like they're trying to come in and impose their will on you, and if you don't adapt to that existing, if you refuse to change your deck to be able to get to 110, 120 points, and you keep running, cheap 8-range ships or cheap 7-range ships or whatever, you're going to be super frustrated against a Dominion player. But you're not always. They're very popular right now because they're the new hotness. I believe the data is skewed artificially towards how good they are because everybody's playing them because they're new. But
the surprising thing was that they were played so much when it came out. So I think 50% of the people were like, "All right, they're going to play it," and then the other 50% of people just didn't pay attention. And then you put those things together, you got a lot of frustration, and you know.
But I keep hearing talk about crippling strike's overpowered. It's overpowered, and I'm like, okay, I didn't run into it the last tournament, but all I did was I took Excelsiors out of my deck and put in Sovereigns, and I switched to a 2-span space mission, and now you have to play 2 crippling strikes on me to stop me from going anywhere, or I'll just draw up and pitch cards. I mean, it's if you're not prepared to deal with it, it's very powerful.
Yeah, people need to start playing Astrometrics Lab more. That's what I think.
Or go look at the USS Dauntless. It's a 9-range ship that any affiliation can play, except Voyager.
Or draw a lot of late game, mid to late game. You can just draw cards to account for it. That's what I did in the one game that I faced it.
Yeah.
At the late game, I just drew cards instead, just in case.
Cool.
Pay the toll. Pay the toll.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then the next set, which I have a spoiler for, which I'll do later, is Borg and Voyager. So you guys will get to see how Borg and Voyager affect things going into the big 4 events of the year. So that'll be fun. So, all right, moving to the 1E side of things briefly. I have a question from Kazon Pad in the chat room. He wants to know, how much was the speed of the game a consideration in the zone ban? Every deck he's looking at now is based on a 2-mission win, mainly featuring the Genesis device. Have we killed the 3-mission win deck, or will Genesis device be next to be banned? Christopher, since you're here, will you share your thoughts, and then I will share mine? And John, you're welcome to join in too. I know you're not a big 1E guy, but...
Well, yeah, sure. The idea behind the ban was more or less just because it didn't do what it was supposed to be doing. It didn't stop people from running ahead, but it actually did the opposite. It actually made people not getting come up from behind. It was impossible to come up from behind because if you didn't have enough points, you wouldn't be able to win. So it was used the other way around, and that's why we banned it. Because it didn't do what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, there were 2. I've been pushing for this card to be banned for a long time. So if you want to blame somebody, blame me. But it was a group decision, so it's not like it's Charlie's will be done. But there were 2 reasons it was banned. One is exactly what Christoph just said. It was a rich get richer card. If you got ahead, you got in the zone out, and nobody could catch you, short of you encountering a disaster. That was extremely frustrating. The other reason is we were of the opinion, rules, errata, and design was of the opinion that most of the stuff that was in the game that In the Zone was trying to break doesn't work anymore. Between the OTF rules and bans and erratas, the idea of the I go from 0 to 100 on turn 1 and you never get to play deck is gone. Ultimately, removing In the Zone is going... The reason In the Zone was removed was because we wanted to see what would happen. I mean, it is largely an experiment. I'm not going to deny that. It is addressing the oppression issue, which is a big one, but it's largely an experiment. If there is a 0 to 100 deck that is still playable in the game, I would argue that we should fix that instead of just relying on In the Zone to keep it broken. I mean, I understand why people are frustrated by In the Zone being banned. It's been around for such a long time, and it's become such an integral part of the way you build decks, and now it's a big change. But we did that on purpose. That was not we were not ignorant of what was going to happen when we took this card out. We wanted to see what was going to happen. We wanted to see what was going to happen going into the competitive scene. So I personally apologize to anybody who was frustrated because the deck they were going to play doesn't work anymore. I don't know why that would be the case, but I apologize. But we needed to see what was going to happen, and we could not have banned this card for whatever reason forever. We could always invent a reason not to do it, but we needed to see what was going to happen, and now is as good a time as any. But to answer your specific question, I do not think that we have seen the end of 3-mission win decks. In fact, I think 3-mission win decks just got better because you can now solve 2 missions on the same turn without a consequence. And,
Yes.
and to be honest, I can't speak for everybody. I don't play in every community, but in a lot of the big events that I've seen and gone to, and even locally, 2 mission wins are already a thing. That was already a pretty big thing. You know, you do a 35-point mission with a couple mission specialists, and you do that, and then maybe you play a 10-point bonus point card, and you're done. 2 mission wins has been a thing a long time, even before In the Zone. I actually think removing In the Zone will increase the likelihood that you do 3 easy missions, because that whole consequence of I solve 2 and half my points don't count goes away. Time will tell, but that's my feeling. Dealing with the Genesis device, any thoughts on that? I mean, it's a motion pictures card when Decipher gave up, so it's probably broken. But
Yeah.
I have a really cool Genesis device story. I was playing in a 1E tournament at Gen Con 2 years ago, and I was playing illegitimate leader Klingons, and Ryan Sutton was playing Ferengi, and he had gotten the Genesis device and doubled the points on one of his missions. So I played Lursa, who downloaded Baitor, or the other way around, and then downloaded a ship to my outpost, came over and stole his Genesis device from him using her text to steal an artifact, and then I made his mission worth 0 points. I was able to win the game. So it's not like the I can't say the Genesis device is going to be banned. I don't know. If it's showing up a ton, it'll be on the watch list. That's what the watch list is for. The point of removing In the Zone was we needed to see what was going to happen, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Comdecker has. Oh, here's. Sorry, I'll skip Comdecker for a moment and ask.
Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie, did you just have you talked about the watch list already?
Oh, I guess not. Why don't you talk about the watch list for a minute?
Yes, we are introducing a watch list for for first edition. We've looked at second edition and how they've been doing it, and we think it has worked really fine for the second edition. So we are going to implement the same thing for first edition too. And as we talked, me and Charlie talked about this earlier, so I think he just blurted out more information than we were supposed to be telling. We were supposed to be saying this in our article next week, but now you know.
We still will.
Yeah, we still will. But now you know. Now you get a little head start.
We talked about the 2E errata team earlier, and it's been working so well internally, we copied it for the 1E side. So the 1E has exactly the same thing. They're going to have a watch list. The only wrinkle is the 1E has a ban list and the 2E doesn't. So.
Yes, that's the difference.
And it will stay that way.
Yes.
Yes.
The watch list will go. So the idea behind a watch list, if you're not familiar, is you can look at the 2E one to get an idea, but it's a list of cards and reasons that they're being looked at. Specifically, you could technically consider the ban list an extension of this. It's just with a status of banned instead of watched.
Yeah.
The idea is, I'll give you an example. Kazon Battle is a crazy powerful deck that's been talked about a lot. So the errata team might say, we're looking at Kazon Warship and Outgun and this other card because the Kazon Battle deck is super strong. That's an example. Another one might be Jonathan Archer because design feels like we can't make any cards that have X on him because he's stupid. The reasons will be more articulate than this, but I'm just giving you examples. And then you guys out there in the community can go look and see, oh, they think these cards are a problem. Maybe I'll play a deck with one and see and give them some more data. Or, oh, I'll stay away from these cards because they might get changed. And ultimately, all the watch list means is that it's being looked at. Does not mean that it's going to be banned. It does not mean that it's going to be changed. It means that somebody, either in the community or behind the scenes, said we should keep an eye on that. That's all it means.
Yes.
Staying on the In the Zone topic, Sexecutioner asked, besides Genesis device, what other rarely used cards do you anticipate players will play more of post In the Zone?
That's a hard one. There's a lot of cards to choose from, so
I'll tell you, the one that we were talking about was Diplomatic Conference. The one that Design was excited to see was Diplomatic Conference, because that's a cool mission that never gets used.
That's true.
And there's been a lot of talk about Shakari too, which is a potentially high-scoring mission, which isn't used very often.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what kind of cards will come out of the binders within the zone out of the way.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. See what people cook up.
And a final question on In the Zone before we change topics from Kazon Pad. Do you think something else will replace In the Zone to slow down the game eventually, but without the oppression of the underdog factor? I believe that the majority of the functionality of that card will be. I mean, there's really mission debriefing now.
Yeah.
Which is a much better way to handle that scenario. There's a couple other cards that have similar functions. I think I can envision. We've talked about errata for In the Zone. There's a couple that's been floated. I can envision a card coming back that does a similar thing. And I'll tell you why we didn't errata In the Zone. We didn't know where to put it. Like, how many points in a turn is enough? Should it only exclude bonus points? Should it only exclude mission? We didn't have enough data. So, play games without it for the next 6 months or however long. We'll see what the numbers say, and then that might make it easy to bring back. Maybe it caps 20 non-mission points a turn, and that's all it does, and it comes back as it is. So, but I do think that functionality of a game slowdown type of card, there's a place for that in the game, as long as it doesn't have the oppression of the underdog factor, which I like and I might steal. So.
Yeah, nice.
So, John, you want to see a Twee spoiler? Tell me what you think about it.
Oh, I can't wait. My nipples are hard with excitement.
Your nipples are hard with excitement. Now I have to make this X-rated, thanks. Or 18 and up. Let me remember how to share a screen. And I'm going to show you a spoiler from Lower Decks, which I haven't told you the name before, but I just did. Lower Decks. Lower Decks is the next expansion. Can we see this card?
No.
What now?
No.
That really doesn't work.
Welcome to Charlie Plaine's PowerPoint presentation.
Well, I guess you're going to have to go without the picture then.
Oh, man.
Right.
Well, you can't. Yeah, you should have had.
I thought it was going to work. I don't know why it's not working. But this card. Let me try one more thing. So this is a interrupt. There's a small. It's not an interrupt. Sorry, it's a dilemma. There's a small interrupt matters theme running through Lower Decks, which is coming out soon, July. Talk to your ambassadors. All right, let's see if I can fix this. It was originally a bigger part of the expansion, but it kind of got cut down somewhat as the thing went on. But there's a cycle of cards that care about having interrupts, and this is one of them. If I can get this to work. Come on.
Might just have to post it later on the thread on the boards.
Yeah. Let's see if this works. Can you see it now?
There you go.
All right. This is a 4-cost space dilemma called Simulated Prey. And that picture is Janeway as a Klingon from the Killing Game, I think was the episode where the Hirogen captured Voyager. Randomly select a personnel with a skill required by this mission to be killed, and that's in bold. So this is a skill dilemma. The opponent on your left may discard an interrupt from hand to randomly select an additional personnel to be killed. So, let's hear you guys' thoughts. Anybody? Bueller?
No, it's a little bit of a throwback. 4-cost space killer. That's more old school. I don't know, it technically is a skill dilemma now, even though I don't like to consider those skill dilemmas, but it will get you it'll get you around legacy. But no, I think it's a good classic kill dilemma.
It's kind of filling the void of necessary evil in space. It's kind of that similar function where you can get 2 kills, but it's not that good. I mean, you got to have an interrupt in your hand that you're willing to throw away. It's not 2 kills of your choice. It's 2 random kills. So random selection evasion works, but I think it's kind of a fun card. The lore is, what do you expect? They've been stabbed, shot, beaten, phasered, and batlithed over the past 3 weeks. Their bodies weren't designed for this kind of punishment.
No one wants to relive bad Voyager episodes. Why are you doing this to me?
34v8. Well, there's going to be a lot of Voyager in this set, so get over it. Smiley is a 1E guy. What do you think about this card?
There. Now I unmuted myself. I think it's cool. I would like to see more cards in 1E from the Killing Game. That's I don't think it's a bad episode. I think it's quite nice, actually. But I don't
remember Janeway as a Klingon. I forget. I remember the Hirogen episodes vaguely, but I don't remember Janeway as a Klingon.
Okay, it's in the start of the episode. You get to see Neelix as a Klingon too. As a drunk Klingon even.
Yeah, they're running different simulations, and one has all the crews as Klingons, and then the main one was the World War II Nazi storyline.
Nazi uniforms. When are we going to get Nazi Hirogen in 2E? That's the question people want to know.
We already got them in first edition, so.
All right, well,
I think it's a cool dilemma. It's
Sexecutioner says throw a backwards compatible icon on that. So.
Nobody cares what Neil Matthews has to say. Nobody. That's the moral of the story.
All right. I have another question here on 1E from Comdecker. What does design currently think about conversions? Is there some effort to look for 2E backwards compatible cards that make sense for the current block and convert them? Well, Smiley, do you want to say anything on that, or I can address it because I'm leading.
I would only answer with a yes. Yes, we do.
Yeah,
we
look
at card.
We constantly look for. That's usually one of the first things we do when we sit down for an expansion is like, what backwards compatible cards are there that we can convert? But we do not design by checklist, or we try not to design by checklist. So we don't say, here are the 15 backwards compatible cards that fit this expansion. Let's convert all 15 of them. No, we don't do that. If a card makes sense, we will convert it. If a card doesn't fit or the conversion isn't working, we'll cut it. It might not end up in this. So there may be, the next block, I've talked about this publicly, but the next block is mirror themed, and there are a number of backwards compatible mirror cards that aren't being converted for a variety of reasons. And we're not going to do it for the sake of doing it, but if it fits, we will do it. So.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about doing some. I don't know that we've decided, but I think we've talked about doing some unofficial conversions where we just sort of declare that a 2E card is a 1E card that already exists is a version of this 2E card. That may be something that happens in the future. So.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff that we have are more or less the same image, the same part. It's taken from the same storyline. So the conversion more or less already exists in first edition anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's just So.
But I want to say there's like a dozen conversions in crossover.
Yes, it is. There's a lot.
It's a lot of dilemmas. So.
And they're really nice too. They're
chat
good.
Room, if you guys have any last questions, chat room, send them now because we're going to head towards wrapping up over the next 15 minutes. While I dig around in my design files and see how many conversions there are. So
I should know this. I read through the file
Let's
just
see.
yesterday.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's just in the top half.
Yeah, there's a lot.
12, 13. I'm sure there's more. I'm just grabbing titles right now.
Yeah.
There's about 12 or 13. So keep in mind, set 3 that does the Mirror Starfleet will do a crap ton. So.
Yes.
Alrighty. So the Observation Lounge is just, this is the pilot episode. I'm a little disappointed that more people didn't join the Hangout. I picked this time because it was the one that the most people said they could come. I understand that things change, and that's fine. Hopefully in the future we'll get more people and different perspectives. And the whole goal of this vlog, this podcast, whatever this is to talk about what's on the community's mind. So if you can join us, please do. If you can't join us and there is a topic that is bothering you, send me a PM or an email. I am MidnightLich on the boards, one word, or my email address is cplaine@gmail.com. I'm going to do these once a month until people stop coming or stop caring. So if you are watching this later, send me your thoughts. Post in the discussion thread what you think about what we talked about. If you have different opinions or you think we're full of crap, talk about what other topics you want to see next time. In general, I'm going to try to let the topics be dictated by the community. Sometimes, from time to time, we may have something to bring up and talk about. If somebody has a specific concern or we're looking for specific feedback. One piece of feedback we're looking for from you guys is wow, I totally just went blank on what I was going to say. Oh, sorry. Expansion releases. We have been criticized correctly for being very inconsistent with how we release expansions, and we have been working behind the scenes with Nick and Christopher to standardize our release schedule to every 4 months, 3 times a year. I think we're finally on track to do that. So starting in August, every 4 months you'll be getting a 1E set, and then starting in October, every 4 months you'll be getting a 2E set. Tell us if you think that's too many, not enough, what you think about that, or because if our information is out of date, we want to be adjusting to our expectations. So send me a note, send me an EM, or post on the forums and let us know what your thoughts are on the rate of expansion releases, and feel free to tell us that we've been crappy about it, because we have been. That's valuable feedback. So, I am going to post a link in the forums and in the chat room. This is a Google form to help me pick the next episode and what you want to talk about. So I've picked 3 dates. This is what I'm going to do going forward. I've picked 3 dates that I am available. I will let you vote on which one is going to be the date and then announce it in a week or so. So there, I will put a link. If you're watching on YouTube, I will put a link like right here or something, so you can click on the forum, and then it'll be on the forums as well to pick the date for the next episode of the Observation Lounge. In the next episode of the Observation Lounge, I will be doing a brief presentation on understanding the process of expansion development. I did this presentation for our 1E team a couple of months ago, and they really liked it, so I edited it, and we're going to be doing it publicly next time. So next month, not only will we talk about what's interesting for you, but I will share with you how we make expansions from start to finish, so that you can get an idea of what that entails. So with that,
Okay, can I bitch about something before we wrap up the show? We couldn't have a show without me bitching. You couldn't. It's more an organized play question, and I sent this up the ladder, and of course nothing ever came back. Unfortunately, this is something that organized play should do. I think they should have a monthly, not maybe monthly, but every 3 months. This would be a good thing for them to do. That's what usually people have gripes about, is something related to organized play. A little while back, I posted something about the ratings, because they kind of look goofy, because as people drop out and people stop playing, there's a lot of players who haven't played in over 2 years. And eventually we came to consensus that maybe we should have if you like your rating, you can keep your rating system, that after 6 months, your rating goes dark. If you come back and play, then your rating comes back and your rating goes back on the board. But after 6 months of inactivity, your rating would go dark. What do you think about something along those lines?
It's. I will say this. Well, first, since it came up, I wasn't going to talk about it unless it came up. But there's an article going up tonight at midnight announcing that Matthias is stepping down as the director of organized play, effective this fall. It is not related to any drama or Trek drama or anything along those lines. It is a very personal decision he made reluctantly. So essentially, he doesn't feel he has the time to do the job properly anymore, which is, I respect that. I respect that. So we will, just to give you some context about why maybe you haven't been getting answers as much as you would like. Not that that's an excuse. That is a known problem that we have from the continuing committee, and I have been talking about repeatedly. Is we have to be better at answering messages, or at least acknowledging messages. I mean, maybe you can't give an answer right away, but you used to have to at least let the person know you got their message. Anyway, back on point. Sorry, Matthias is stepping down. We will be finding a replacement soon. Stay tuned to the front page for more information.
What's your personal opinion on that, though? Give me what's your personal opinion on that?
My personal opinion is that there are people on both sides that are very loud and vocal. There are people who are like, you can't mess with ratings. You know, people want to see their rating and it should be there. There are people who want ratings to decay. Then in the middle is the go dark idea. Of the three options, that's the one that I tend to like the most, where you have the active, like, sort of year-to-date players as the main rating, and then you have the lifetime rating you have to switch to, which I think is essentially the same idea as what people are talking about.
That's cosmetic. All this would do is you would have to play in a tournament one tournament, even if it's a local with like 3 of your buddies. You would just have to play once every 6 months. I don't think that's too much to ask to see your name. Yeah, you want to see your name, that's fine, but you at least gotta play once every 6 months. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah, and ultimately I don't either. I mean, I think that something should be done so that because right now the people that value their ratings don't feel like they can ever make it to the top of that list, and there are people who want to make it to the top of that list, and they should be allowed to do that. I will say this: the discussion about ratings has been noticed by organized play, and we're kind of discussing it internally. I think what is probably going to happen is there will be a more official survey posted to the community where we, tell us what you think about this, tell us what you think about this, give us your thoughts. That data will then help organize play and make an informed decision. And I would not expect, realistically, I don't think a change to ratings and how they calculate would happen prior to January 1st. You could argue to start it right after Worlds, but I realistically think.
No, I agree. I agree. If any change would be beginning 2016.
So I don't know how we're going to resolve it, but it is, and maybe we don't. Maybe nothing changes, but I at least think it's being discussed, and that we need to get. This is not something that 5 or 6 guys sitting on a forum should decide. It should be something that the community's input is collected in and strongly shapes which direction we go in. So yeah, I mean, rating decay is a hot topic, but we want to get people's. I think we could do a whole podcast just on that topic, and still probably not get to a consensus. So. Okay. Anything else? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being watching live. If you watch live, those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Vote in the poll for the next episode of the Observation Lounge. On behalf of our guests, John and Christopher, My name is Charlie Plaine, and the Observation Lounge is closed.